This is my first time in Romania. For 12 years, I've been working with the conductor Cristian Meciolaru, and he's been saying, you must come to my home country. So I'm very grateful for his invitation and to be here with the competition. I'm honored to be on the jury. First of all, I'm not a cellist, so I said to Christy, why are you inviting me to the cello division, not the violin division, because I'm a trained violinist. He said, you've managed cellists, you know what you're doing, and it'll be great to have you. For him, this is his inaugural season as artistic director of the competition, and he felt it was very important to have an industry presence on the jury. So it is the first time that artist managers and people from the industry are on the jury. So there's an artist manager on every single division, so piano, violin, and cello. So I'm very honored. I think that we bring a different perspective. It's a different perspective than the experts who are the musicians on the jury, but I consider myself a professional concert goer. And I've been going to concerts professionally for over 25 years, and there's something that I see from the industry perspective, which is important. The ability to connect with audiences that goes beyond the technique and the musicianship, something that's unique and compelling to say, and a stage presence and charisma, a magnetism that needs to be there, as well as a resonance in sound. So projection is, of course, extremely important. This is exactly what we're looking for in artists. I like to call it the X factor. And it's hard to put your finger on it, and it does transcend musicality and technique. All that has to be there as a foundation. But an artist really has to have something that they feel strongly in how they view the piece and how they want to communicate it to the audience, and how they connect with an audience, how they move them, how they provoke them, and how they really make themselves vulnerable to give of themselves to connect with the audience. It is a natural talent that one needs to have to be able to connect with audiences. That doesn't mean that there's one type of model. You can be extroverted and you can be introverted. We have several conductors on our roster who are introverted, and artists on our roster. We have Song-Jin Cho, the pianist, and we have Gemma Nu, the conductor, and they're both so different on stage than they are in person, and they just become another person opening their souls up to the audience, and it's really moving. I love being here. Enescu, of course, is known as one of the top competitions in the world, and I was very pleased to see that there were over 550 applications this year, so there's a great interest in coming to Romania and in the uniqueness of this competition. Under Cristian Meciolaru, it's been wonderful to see the way the competition has evolved. This year is the first time there's a wellness track. And I think that in this modern world, with the pressures that we have of social media, post-pandemic, it's so crucial to focus on that. Typically, when I'm a juror at competitions, when the competitors don't pass the preliminary round or the semifinals, they go home a lot of times, or they just get put on the side. But at this competition at Enescu, they feel it's very important to focus on them and their ongoing training. So they have two wellness advisors here, and I saw that one of them, Angelica, had walked up to the competitors yesterday who had not passed, and she could see the sadness on their faces and just their muscles tightening when their names were not called, and it's so devastating because the attention often goes on the ones who have proceeded to the finals. And I saw her go to the ones who hadn't advanced, and she said, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be in this moment and not to deny your feelings. And tomorrow she works with the competitors, one-on-one and in a group session. And today we, as the jurors, will work with these semifinalists who did not advance to give them feedback. And that's also very unique because in many competitions we're not permitted to interact with the competitors, but to be able to have an open session to speak in a transparent way, I think is so healthy and necessary. It's it's very special what they have here at Enescu. It is important to have the feedback. I think that musicians work so hard and they can often be in a vacuum. Getting feedback from their teacher, playing in a small practice room, and to be in a hall over 1,000 seats, to be able to play here in front of a jury, experts on the musical side as performers, teachers, and then in the industry is so crucial. So I look forward to being able to give the feedback. I'm honored that I have my own agency. I did not expect to start my own agency. I remember artists and friends in the field asking me further down in my time at IMG Artists, will you ever start your own agency? And I thought, oh no, I don't think so. But eventually that moment came. I had spent 17 years at IMG Artists, and I had the honor of being mentored by the best in the business, Edna Landau and Charles Hamlin. And after they left and my other mentors had left, I thought, you know, I think I've come to a point where I can do this on my own, and I had ideas of how I wanted to do it. Instead of it being about the agency, which oftentimes at a large agency it is about, you know, we have 23 artists appearing at the proms this summer. I had a vision that it had to be about the artist, the individual artist, and everything is better when it's customized. So I wanted a structure where it would be nimble, where we could have the autonomy to support our artists in the unique ways that they deserved to be supported. One thing that was very important was promotion, and that's what we at Primo Artists distinguish ourselves in, amongst other aspects. How we aggressively promote our artists on social media, digital media, and in public relations. So that was really important, and a holistic approach for us. When I started the agency nearly 10 years ago in 2015, it was with this vision. And now 10 years later, we are the only agency in the business that does all three aspects, which is artist management and representation, also in public relations and in social media management. So we represent and promote our artists in all ways, and it really becomes a wholesome approach where it's all under one roof. And so we have artists such as Christian Mechelaru, James Gaffigan, Gemma New. Many of our artists are represented by us in all levels. And so it makes it seamless because we are planning the seasons, we are strategizing in the careers, we're booking the concert tours, and we are pitching the artists to media outlets, and also creating their voice to social media followers. So from all perspectives, it's such a joy to be able to work for our artists in that way. The industry has changed vastly. I've been in it for over 25 years. When I entered in the late 90s, it was in the tail end of the three tenors and the glow of record companies. Somewhere along the lines, the power and glow of the record companies and the access that we had with media on television, such as Johnny Carson and David Letterman and Stephen Colbert, started to dwindle. And so we had to find ways entering the 21st century to amplify our own platforms. So for our artists to take it into their own hands and not rely on TV opportunities. So it really started to change things in the 2000s. So an artist like Itzhak Perlman, who was introduced on television through Ed Sullivan, now he has nearly 1 million social media followers, and if he has a message that he wants to share, or say a recipe from his kitchen, he will share it on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and X and all of the different platforms, because he knows now that even though he was in the kitchen with Julia Childs 45 years ago, he needs to make that himself, that opportunity real. So it's changed in that way, that it's in the responsibility in the hands of the artist to get the message out to their followers. People are interested in classical music. I've been in the industry for over 25 years, and everyone has said classical music audiences are dying. They're not dying, and they're very much alive. And when you look at Instagram, we have the largest following on our side of the business with 30,000 followers across all of our channels, and everyone is following what we're doing and what our artists are doing. There's such a hunger out there to follow the activities of the artists. And in this day and age, social media allows the followers to see an inside glimpse into artists that wasn't possible before. In the previous century, all they saw was edited recording on Deutsche Grammophon and maybe, if they were lucky, a DVD. Nowadays, they can see inside, they can see backstage, they can see inside the head of an artist if they're saying, if they're sharing a very personal message. So you see artists coming out about their health issues and mental health problems and so many other things. So I think it can be drawing in and building the audiences in a way that we didn't have an opportunity before. So you see the person behind the artist. It's no longer edited. That's what the pandemic allowed us to see, because we didn't have the opportunity of edited recordings anymore. We didn't have recording studios, period. So artists were recording live from their living room with a poorly filtered audio on their iPhone or their computer. And it really just peeled away that veneer that we're used to. And now in this age, to have artists be authentic in their most really sincere self is how followers want to see artists. Competitions play an essential role in the start of careers. Many artists don't have a shoe-in, right? They are not born into the industry. They don't have the opportunities to be visible, and competitions allow talent to be discovered. So I think that they are always and have always been and remain one of the biggest ways to discover talent and to start careers. So in the business, we are very, very much paying attention to who is entering competitions, who wins competitions. It's not always the first prize winner. A lot of times it's the second or third prize winner. And a lot of times industry people can be watching these competitions and can sign an artist even if they don't win or before the finals. So there's many second prize careers who have gone on to be having the most important careers. Johannes Moser, he did not win first prize, he won second prize at the Tchaikovsky. Simon Trpceski won second prize at the London International Piano Competition. Our Italian pianist Beatrice Rana won second prize at Van Cliburn. So it's not about the top prize, but it's about how these artists are discovered in these competitions, how they hold themselves, and it's not often how the jury votes, but it's how we have the opportunity to see someone who we didn't know about last week. Jury experiences at competitions can really vary. I've been in competitions where our discussions are very lively, and we sometimes change the results of the competition based on an open discussion. It's not often always about the numbers. At Enescu, it's very much about the numbers, and there's not much discussion about the result. There's discussion about how we vote, because there are different ways of interpreting how we vote, not for the main competition, but for the special prize and for the Enescu Sonata in the cello division. Do we want to vote only for one, or do we want to vote numerically and let the system tell us who won, rather than how many jurors voted this one competitor at the top for our interpretation of their Enescu? So there can be different variances in the deliberation process. I'm very happy with how Enescu does it because it's based on the numbers, and there's no discussion on how the numbers have added up. The computer tells us, and we're very happy with the results. I think that when a competitor comes to competition, it's difficult not to be aware of who's in the audience. The advice I would give competitors is to come as they are. We jurors are not there to criticize them or to intimidate them. We're people too, and we've been on the other side. So just relax. The competitors have worked so hard to get to this point, and they can rely on their hard work and just come do their best. If something happens, just move on from that. I can tell you a story about our violinist Joshua Bell. When he entered his first competition at the age of 14, it was the Stolberg competition in Michigan, a very regional competition, and he, in his second measure, had made a mistake. And he thought, I can't go on from this and win this competition. This is a disaster. And he decided to stop. And he asked the jury if he could restart again. And they said, that's fine, go ahead. And he ended up playing a winning performance and winning the competition. So sometimes things don't go as you expect, and it's okay. We're all here and in it together to support the competitors. Even if you don't win the prize, you do win. In every competition that you enter, you grow. It's an amazing learning experience on your stamina, on your presentation, on your mental strength. So it's always a win, and I would encourage competitors not to be concerned with whether they won first prize. It's not about that. It's about the journey and about progress and strengthening yourself, improving, and getting to this eventual destination. 2026 is around the corner. Enescu is a wonderful competition. First of all, it's every 2 years. It's not every 4 years. So it's more accessible. The repertoire is really interesting, and the openness and warmth of Romania and what Cristian Măcelaru as artistic director has done here in prioritizing wellness and the hospitality of the people here, the equitability of the jurors with a mix of the professional performers, teachers, and industry people is what makes it such a special competition. So I encourage everyone to apply in 2026 and join us.